All right, let's figure out how to use this thing, right? This is my Pendle LRT Comparor, and what it allows you to do is look at all of the Pendle LRT YTs and compare them with a few assumptions. So, as with all of my calculators, blue things are inputs and green things are outputs. These are effectively hard-coded. You shouldn't change these. It just happens to be the case that all of the short expiries are on the same day, which is April 24th, and all the long expiries on the same date of June 26th. So there's no reason to change these. You can change these, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then there is a live ETH price. You can change this to whatever you want and it will affect all of your ROIs if you want to speculate on some price, but I like to use a live ETH price just because it makes things more in the moment and real. Okay, cool. So let's dive right in. This is the first thing you should focus on when adding your own assumptions. Eigenday, right? When do you think Eigenday is? There is a building or mounting amount of evidence and rumor mill generation that suggests Eigenday should be late April or early May. I think, knowing DeFi, it could be 420. I think Barachain may also do the same thing because it's a meme-ish day and DeFi lives and thrives on memes. Now, I also think that it could be anytime between 420 and second week of May. That's a good estimation for when Eigenday may happen. Eigenday, by the way, is just the day when the Eigen airdrop happens and points probably become valueless, though there may still be season 2 and season 3 and points may still have value, but I'm assuming points become valueless after the Eigen airdrop because they want Eigen token to have, value intrinsically, which may be for getting AVS airdrops or, restaking for Eigen DA, who knows? Now, Eigen points per day, you don't change this. This is just the case, right? This is how many Eigen points per day per ETH deposited. There's no reason to change this, but you can if you really want to. And then Eigen point value, I'm going to say 25 cents. This is, it's moderate in my opinion. I think Eigen points, if Eigen launches between April 20th and the second week of May, then Eigen point value anywhere between 20 cents and 35 cents is reasonable to me. So I'm being a little bit bearish, if anything, at 25 cents. But who knows? It could be even higher than that. Or it could be lower. This is for you to decide. Don't take my word for it. That's why I'm showing you how to use this tool. So the next thing to understand is efficiency. I think this is important. So efficiency just means how many Eigen points per day per ETH are you getting for these protocols. So the way these protocols work is they accept native restaking, and then they have to actually restake those to get points. Or they also sometimes have LRTs that aren't being restaked because Eigen is closed. So they may have a lower efficiency. The lower efficiency, the fewer actual Eigen points per day per ETH deposited you will be getting. Kelp tends to have a pretty high efficiency, but all of these numbers are semi-speculative. The only people that I know that are actually doing the work and effort and math to figure out how efficient these things are in the DeFi dojo. And if you know of any source that has hard data on the current efficiency of these LRTs, please let me know. I always love new, robust, good data. All right, so I'm assuming these. We've done quite a bit of work for Kelp efficiency. We've done quite a bit of work for EtherFi efficiency. I totally guessed Renzo. I have no idea. It's just a guess. And then Pendle points multipliers. Thank you guys for correcting me. I just threw 2 in here before. These should be the accurate numbers. 2.5 for Kelp, which is amazing, and then 1.25 for Puffer. But by the way, I don't think Puffer's giving any Eigen points to their YT users. So keep that in mind when you use, and maybe I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, change the number, right? This is totally up to you. You don't have to use these numbers. That's why I'm showing you how to use this thing, because it's a tool to be used. Okay, so points per day. These should be accurate. The only one I haven't verified is Puffer, but I've gotten that from one of our mods. I believe him, and I just haven't verified it. And then point value. This is probably a little bit spicy. I tend to go with more bearish estimates because I would prefer to be pleasantly surprised rather than unfortunately disappointed. Now you might be saying, but Steven, Renzo points on whales are going for 37 cents. Are they? Are they? Who's buying them? No one is buying them. This is a $1,000 order, can't get filled. This is a $198 order, can't get filled. Let's go to closed orders on Renzo. Nothing. None of these filled. So I do not in any way, shape, or form believe the Renzo pricing on Whales Market because it's just not filling. No one's buying them. There's no demand. Same with kelp. Same with puffer. There's just not a lot of demand. There have been some fills on puffer. If we go to closed, there's a fill here. If we go to buy with puffer, there, this one's almost full at this would be amazing at nearly 2 cents. That would be huge. So I'm trying to be bearish because then I'll be happy if it goes higher than that. But it's important to note that this is where the majority of the money is coming from for these plays, not actually the eigenpoints. Okay, let's go to the last thing, which is TGE date. And this is really important. This is probably the most mind-blowing, hard to grasp, speculative part of this, is when the actual airdrop for these LRT tokens is going to happen. For EtherFi, we kind of know it's going to be season 2. Season 2 is going to be 6:30, so we know it's going to be then. I haven't fixed this calculator so that it uses a conditional if you go past the June 26th date. So try to keep it June 26th or sooner, unless I will probably fix this by the end of the day, but I haven't fixed it yet. So June 26th or sooner, that way you'll get the most accurate numbers. But maybe these things will happen in 5/26. If it happens 5/26, let's just say 5/26, a lot of values change. So let me show you which values change. So that's all of these inputs. The next and the last thing you have to do is the YTs per ETH. So let's look at kelp. This is kelp. This is the June 26th expiry. So how many YTs do you get per ETH? Well, let's just go over to Pendle, put in 1 ETH. Actually, this is YTE ETH short dated. You get 34.15. So we'll do that. Short dated YTE ETH 34.15. Terrible price, right? So what would you want to do? You would want to do a limit order. Why? Because you're going to get 7.15% price impact if you don't use a limit order. If you do use a limit order, let's just say you want to do 1 WE ETH and do the current market price, you will get a much better rate. Now this is WE ETH, which is worth more than an ETH. So keep that in mind, but still you'll get a much better rate. I highly recommend using market orders for any of these short dated because they are very, very hard to enter into without doing that. All right, so you enter those and you're done. That's all of the inputs you had to do. Congratulations, you can now speculate to your heart's content. So let's go through all of these and how they're impacted by the inputs. LRT points per day per ETH, right? These are your kelp miles, your Renzo points, puffer points. These would also be your swell pearls, but I didn't include swell just because it's been going on for so long. It's really hard for me to value the pearls. Okay. So you can see you get a lot of these points per day, but really what matters is how much they are valued by expiry. So if you look at kelp as an example, $5,300 by expiry, that's fantastic. It's 164% ROI just from the LRT points. But remember, this is assuming the TGE is really far away in June 26th. If we assume that it happens on 4/30, the ROI will not be as good, and you will actually have a negative APR because you paid more than it's worth. And this is assuming you ride the YT to zero valuation. Now, this is the long dated ones. The short dated ones are not going to be as impacted by this. You can see, even with that, the annualized return and the return here is still pretty good. So do keep that in mind. Let's change that back to 626. But please remember that you should add your own assumptions here. We had one of the moderators, Dr. Sauce, he created this phenomenal point valuation estimator. And what it does is it looks at EtherFi season 1 and then uses that as an anchor to look at the relative TVL for the other LRT protocols and assume then what their points might be valued based off of a number of different metrics. And then it projects them into the future for when their TGE might be based off of some pretty good assumptions and tries to value them at those dates. Now, there's some hand wavy math here. Certainly, but you can use this to some extent if you want. What I've done for point valuation is I have effectively just looked at the whales market, looked at my own math, looked at Dr. Sauce's math, and, kind of taken a bit of an average. With the TGE date, probably a lot of these are going to happen May. I think a lot of these are going to happen May. Some may happen June, but they're going to want to ride the hype of Eigen launch. They're going to probably want to launch sooner than later. They're going to want to launch, when things are bullish, when there's a good narrative. They don't want to be the last one to launch. They probably want to be second or third. So there's probably going to be a few of them wanting to launch around the same time with a good narrative. If the AVS narrative is really good, right? Like, so AVS airdrop narrative picks up steam and gets exciting, then I could see a lot of tailwinds for that. Anywho, it's up to you, right? This is a tool for you to extrapolate and speculate to your heart's content. So that's really it, guys. That's LRT points, LRT ROI, and then we have eigenpoints. So this is how many eigenpoints you get per day per ETH deposited, and then eigenpoint value by expiry. You can see this is really not that much compared to your LRT points, even with the short expiry. And this is your ROI there. So your total return is here. This tells you how much dollars your investment will be at the end of expiry. Assuming you ride the YT all the way to the bottom, you ride until it's valueless. Here's your ROI. So, if your principal is 1 ETH, $3,200, your return is $6,500, you have made almost 100% ROI. So you have 2x'd your principal. That's phenomenal. Of course, that's, in a few months. So your annualized return is around 432%. And the reason we used annualized is so we can compare apples to apples when doing opportunity costs and saying, should we go to Fluid, for example, or should we leverage on Base chain or Blast chain or, anywhere else? Should we be doing Gearbox things? Because typically we think of all of those in terms of annualized returns. All right. And so that's pretty much it. What I will say is that short dated look pretty good to me. However, they are hard to enter. So you have to use limit orders, but even long dated ones are pretty good if you think that these are going to happen in a long period from now and you just want an investment to set and forget for a while. So if you want some great Dune dashboards, you can click this. This will take you to this phenomenal dashboard made by maybe Jonas. You can click on any of these, get some great points information, some good analytics for these LRT protocols. And I also like to use the hash dashboard to, sort of assume what eigenvalue might be. You can see at $30 billion, if it launched today, we would have, and this is a 5% airdrop. I think 5 to 7% is totally reasonable. That's a 41 cent to 58 cent point pricing. That would be crazy. I'd be super excited about that. But we're not going to launch today. We're probably going to launch end of this month, early next month. We shall see. Final thing, if you want to leave me a tip for building this and making it accessible to everybody, you can. Here's my tip wallet. Do what you want with it. You don't have to tip. It's free, right? And this is for the public because I like to help people speculate. I think it just makes all of this gamified DeFi much more fun. If you do find any math errors, please let me know. I often have them because no one's auditing the tools that I make. It's just me nerding out and then people playing with it until they find something. So please do let me know. Aside from that, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your speculating, and I hope you get a super juicy airdrop. Have a wonderful rest of your day.